love an underdog. And boy, oh boy, is this kid an underdog.
Anytime you say a guy scores 25 points and has 8 assists in 3 straight games, that is fantastic. He tops it off.
Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. Before we get to LINSANITY, or what I coined Linfluence, and don't forget, that's my term that I found on Twitter today, Linfluence. Let's get it trending. Before we get there, head on over to the Shorty Awards. The link is in the description below, and give us a vote with your Twitter account for a Shorty Award in basketball. There's only about 3 or 4 days left in the voting, so give us a few more votes and we'll jump right to the top. So let's get to Jeremy Lin. I'm very impressed. Decision making, athletically, he's got ability, and there is no doubt in my mind, with a little bit more seasoning and getting used to his teammates, he'll eliminate a lot of the things we see that are mistakes so far. But there aren't that many, and the Knicks are on a resurgence. I have no doubt that Melo will be able to blend in well, and because they have a point guard that can make plays now, Melo will not have to isolate as much, and he can go back to being a lethal catch-and-shoot offensive player. So let me show you how I think that Jeremy Lin can get comparisons to Steve Nash, and the Knicks can vault back into the playoff hunt. Well, they are in the playoffs, but certainly in the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference. Let's start with top of the key screens. When they screen for him and his man goes underneath the screen, he can pull up and pop and hit pretty consistently. Pau Gasol does not hedge, and that lets Jeremy Lin get a head of steam into his body and a foul. However, this doesn't always work, as the referees have still yet to give him complete respect. It's Lin's decision making which makes him so effective on the screen and roll. He tends to find the right man most of the time. Here he misses the layup though. Like Steve Nash, he is very good with the hesitation. Watch the head and shoulder fake on Bynum. It gets him in the lane, and another great decision, but the shot gets blocked. He does need to work on his finishing ability at the rim, because watch this beautiful crossover on Pekovic, but he can't finish. Understandably, he's still not completely comfortable out there, and you can watch how he takes too much time to make this pass to Chandler and it gets stolen. Teams are going to go underneath that screen as much as possible, and there you'll see Rubio take a charge. Impressively, he splits this double team with a left hand dribble, but he can't finish off of 1 foot like that. He's got to go off of 2. And while he gets penetration because of his quickness, he needs to be able to finish better than this. He becomes very tricky when he doesn't use the screen. He goes the other way. It's very hard to defend that, and then watch Bynum come up and he still hits that rainbow. Again, he goes the other way away from the screen. It gets him right into the lane, but he's going to have to hit a shooter instead of shooting that. It's hard to tell just how effective he is when he doesn't use the screen, because there are times when he finishes on tough shots, and other times he goes to the basket and doesn't finish at all, leads to a turnover, and yet again he takes contact and can actually do and ones. And as they play together more, Chandler and Lin will get more of these kind of hookups where Chandler can slip the screen and get a layup. Let's move on to the wing screens to the middle of the floor, almost exclusively on the right side of the basket. You'll see them continually get really good shots as Lin does not go away from the screen. He takes the screen every time, gets really good penetration, and it's only a matter of time until he figures out his teammates a little bit more, and this play will be unstoppable. As it is now, you'll see Chandler's going to benefit quite a bit from that, and as soon as they get more comfortable with each other, they won't miss those alley-oops. And here's an and one on a good finish. The timing does get off sometimes. He'll take an extra dribble and not pass the ball earlier, and that's a turnover there. And he does need to work on his splitting the hedge when the big man comes up. Here he loses his balance and the ball's a turnover again. But if they do not hedge, he'll get a full head of steam, get right into the lane, and make a really good decision more often than not. I'm very impressed with Lin's ability with his left hand to go full speed and penetrate. Here's a sideline screening roll that gets him right into the lane, and it puts the Laker defense on their heels, forcing a number of switches until finally Bynum is guarding him in the corner and he rises up and hits the three. Another sideline screening roll, and he goes away from the screen with his left hand to the middle and gets a foul on the Minnesota big man. You'll see more and more teams try and double team him on the screen and roll and get the ball out of his hands and then body him up and not let him get the ball back. They're going to test him to see if he's physically strong enough. And they're going to try and pressure him as much as possible to see if he can hold up under that kind of scrutiny. And not only does it not bother him, he goes right by Rubio with his left hand, and it inspires him almost to throw even better passes. And he draws so much extra defensive attention that he opens up the lane for other teammates to get easy shots. Even when they hedge high as they can, Lin has a real uncanny ability for finding guys in the right spots, and he's getting more and more comfortable with it. And if that big man is slow on the hedge, he's really good at getting into the body and drawing fouls. And what is happening here is when the big men hedge high on Jeremy Lin, when Tyson Chandler rolls hard to the basket, they're going to get all sorts of alley-oops like this. He is very active on defense and almost always in perfect position on the weak side. Here you'll see him even help out on Bynum to force a miss. And then when they rotate over, he's got to box out Pau Gasol, and there he is taking the big man on and helping his team get the rebound. Teams will try to attack him off the dribble and in the post, and it remains to be seen what's going to happen when he guards guys like Rondo or D. Rose. Blake is not a good indication. He is always active with his feet, he's always scanning with his eyes to see where the ball is and his man, and when he rotates over, he can get a lot of steals out of this defense. He hustles more than your average NBA player, and even though he doesn't close out great, he keeps going, gets the strip and the steal, and he can then lead the fast break and make great decisions for layups. And he's not intimidated by big men. Here he has to rotate over and guard Love, steps right in and gets a steal, but watch how he has a little trouble finishing at the end of this play. And he's not perfect with his decisions. Sometimes he'll get stuck up in the air and have to throw a turnover because there's no pass. His teammates are still learning about him, and as he should backdoor here, Landry Fields throws the ball away. I suspect that teams are really going to sag in on those sideline screener rolls and give him a jump shot until he can prove he can make it consistently. And let's watch the next several plays and invite the Steve Nash comparisons. Bring them on.
Brown wants him, puts up the two-pointer, puts it in!
Lin with 5 assists. Tough turnaround shot.
A 4-point game, under 3.5. Lin on the drive, banks it in!
Goes to Jeffries. Outside to Lin. Crosses over Ridnour and hits. So Tyson Chandler still on the bench with 2 fouls. Lin down the paint, sidestepping Love, and he hits the... Now his pass off the hands of Williams and taken by Lin. Lin, a whirling dervish right to the rims.
So there you have it, sports fans. Let the comparisons to all the good point guards commence. Remember, we haven't seen him against Rondo and D. Rose, and we did see Darren Williams, he did very well, but I want to see him against all the people once around, or maybe twice around. So once we get to that point, we'll see if he really could be the next Steve Nash. I think he might have a chance. He's got a lot of tools, he's got the mental ability, and with the right system like D'Antoni, even though it took him a while to get there, he could flourish. And it's a great story. So stay tuned for more on Jeremy Lin and the rest of the NBA on B-Ball Breakdown. Don't forget the Shorty Awards, and also don't forget at B-Ball Breakdown, it's not a channel, it's a conversation. You in?